Alright, welcome back. Today we're breaking down another episode of Black Mirror. This time it's Crocodile. This episode is as dark as it is polarizing. It seems like people either love it or hate it, and I get it. There is zero happiness in this episode. The one bright spot gets beaten to death in a shed, so I can see that not being for everybody. But what this episode does do well is it shows how unpredictable and dangerous somebody can be when they're backed into a corner and feel like they have no other options. It's a story about secrecy and how far someone's willing to go to keep that secret from getting out. Wait, didn't I already cover Shut Up and Dance? Oh, that's right. We're not talking about Kenny, we're talking about Mia. But stick around to the end for that comparison. After staying up all night partying, drinking, dancing, and doing some extracurriculars, Rob and his girlfriend Mia decide to drive home. Now this episode is a perfect example of why you shouldn't drink and drive. Look at how many lives could have been saved had they just planned a little bit better. By the way, this episode was shot in Iceland and it's absolutely beautiful. They use the location so well, it's almost like a character in itself. I'll be sure to include all the gorgeous scenery they captured because it's really just amazing to see. Rob is driving while they both smoke and sing along to the song Strict Machine by Goldfrapp. Now the song alone doesn't really have any meaning, but when Rob sings out loud to Mia, he replaces the word strict with sick, telling her he's in love with a sick machine. Now that is the kind of foreshadowing we've come to appreciate with Black Mirror's music choices. However, if he wasn't busy singing and making up his own words to songs, he probably would have seen the guy on the bicycle that he just plowed down. And there's no excuse. This road is wide open and he just runs him down from behind. They're both frozen in panic, way more sober than they were 10 seconds ago.
I didn't see him, Mia.
They both get out of the car to check on who they hit. The bike is destroyed, the guy's leg is destroyed, and Rob kicks his arm as it flops around lifelessly. Mia panics. Her first thought is to call 911, because that's what any normal person would do in this situation, right? Wrong. Not Rob. He stops her immediately, saying he's drunk and he'll get sent to prison if she calls anyone. He was the one driving, not her. He'll be the one to get in trouble. Rob doesn't know what to do, but he does know that calling for help isn't an option. Then it hits him like a car from behind. They'll wrap him up in a sleeping bag Rob has in his trunk and then dump him in the lake. But Mia screams and begins to get sick as Rob puts the man's body in the sleeping bag. Rob struggles to drag the body through the snow as Mia carries the bike. They fill the sleeping bag with rocks to help weigh it down and throw all the evidence to their crime in the water. They get back in the car and they both agree to keep their mouths shut and live happily ever after. Well, kinda. For a little while at least. Mia is disgusted. She can't believe what they just did, what Rob made her do. How's she ever gonna live with herself now? Well, 15 years pass and now Rob and Mia have grown apart. I can only imagine their murder and subsequent cover-up of said murder had something to do with the deterioration of their relationship. It takes a special kind of relationship to survive this level of criminal activity that most people don't have. Luckily I do. And this is what I'm talking about. Look at this beautiful landscape with one isolated house surrounded by a snowy nothing. It's just in the middle of nowhere. Mia Nolan is now married with a 9-year-old son. She cut her hair off and has a successful career as an architect. Turns out she learned how to live with her guilty conscience just fine. She's in the mirror practicing a speech about building a brighter future and a better tomorrow. She has a forum she's speaking at tonight and it's kind of far from her house, so she's spending the night and then driving back in the morning. She kisses her family goodbye and as she walks to her car, her phone goes off and the message stops her in her tracks for a moment. But then she leaves. Next we meet Shazia, an insurance investigator who works for Realm Insurance and uses a machine called a recaller to help people remember the details of accidents they witness. She attaches a small device to a person's head and then she can see their memories on her screen. And then sometimes if the memories aren't clear, she'll stimulate their other senses in an attempt to strengthen them. She arrives at the house of her next client and pops a mint in her mouth. Since she spends a lot of time in people's faces, that's sweet of her. She knocks on the front door and watches the woman inside put on a neck brace, grab a crutch, and fake a limp before answering. Shazia says she's there to get her account of the accident. Mrs. Carmichael reluctantly allows her to come inside. Mia is waiting to give her speech, still texting on her phone and looking slightly concerned. She's introduced as one of the most innovative architects of her generation, and gives her speech flawlessly. That night we see a guy on the street retrieving a pizza he ordered from an automated Fences Pizza delivery service. Fences Pizza, of course, being the same pizza place that Robert Daly ordered from in USS Callister. Back in her hotel room, Mia sees the guy getting his pizza before noticing a dentist office across the street. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door, and it's Rob, who kinda looks like shit.
Dried up dog shite.
They haven't seen each other in years, and he was the one texting her all day, so whatever he wants has to be important. Mia offers him a drink, but he says he's 9 months sober.
9 months, 3 weeks, 2 days.
However, he doesn't care if she has a beer. She says that must be hard for him here, because the entire street outside smells like beer. There's an awkward silence, and that's when she realizes he's here to talk about the incident that happened 15 years ago. Rob says he can't stop thinking about it, but Mia says she's completely pushed it out of her mind. Rob pulls out a news article about the victim's wife. They never found his body. As far as anyone knows, he just disappeared. She didn't know what happened to him, so she just waited. She never remarried, never moved out of the house they shared, just in case he ever came back. And she's still waiting on him.
That's dreadful, but what can we do?
Rob says he wants to write an anonymous letter to give her closure and promises not to mention Mia at all.
No, Rob, no.
They'll find the body and trace it back to him. They've both done complete 180s on their original stances. Mia now has a full, complete life she doesn't want to risk losing. And Rob doesn't have shit going on except 9 months of sobriety and a guilty conscience. And now he needs to make amends with everyone he's hurt as part of his path to sobriety.
Who have I hurt more than her?
Now, just like Rob was saying, oh fuck, outside the car when they got in their first accident, Mia's doing the exact same thing now.
Fuck.
No, fuck was your fucking idea.
He can't have a change of heart now.
I sat on this for you.
Mia begs him not to do this, but Rob says he's made up his mind. He goes to leave and Mia bear hugs him. She's panicking and doesn't know what to do, so she just grabs him, because if he leaves, her life is over. She pushes him against the wall and tackles him to the ground while he's off balance. But when he falls on the ground, he cracks his head on the tile and begins bleeding from his nose immediately for not subscribing to my channel. Mia looks down at Rob. She didn't get this far in her plan yet, so she begins to choke him, pressing down on his throat with her forearm while Rob grabs her hair trying to pull her off. Mia's fighting for her life and using every ounce of strength she has to push down on Rob's throat. That's when we hear it crack and Rob's arm drops. She broke his neck. She gets up to go shut the curtains, hearing the song Anyone Who Knows What Love Is playing outside, and looks out the window to see a man crossing the street and get hit by the automated Fence's pizza van. Mia looks up to see the doctor across the street looking at the same accident and quickly closes the curtains, realizing he could have possibly seen everything that just happened. She begins to freak out, finally putting together that while she prevented one problem, she created a whole nother one. Now she got a big ass body to dispose of. At home, Shazia is filling out the accident report paperwork from her appointment with Mrs. Carmichael earlier, when her husband, Anand, comes in with the newest member of their family, Kadra the guinea pig, a present to Shazia for her birthday, but she's not too thrilled. She does like the fact that it's
Fluffy.
but they just got a lot going on with their son Ali right now. But then again,
It'll be good for Ali. Got justice.
Mia is looking out the window as first responders show up to the scene of the accident outside. That's when she gets a knock on the door. It's room service. Nothing like a little murder to make a girl hungry. She pays for the food while Rob sleeps under the bed. Knowing she's gonna struggle and make noise trying to move Rob's body, Mia turns on some good old-fashioned adult content. She scrolls past Wraith Babes from 15 Million Merits and buys X Confessions, turning up the volume so the video's moans and grunts cover her own. Actually kinda genius. Mia pulls Rob out from under the bed and closes his eyes out of guilt. She examines a map of the hotel and plans her escape route, using the room service cart to hide and transport Rob's body to her car. She pulls out and drives past the accident in front of her hotel. She parks in front of a construction site and waits for the last workers to leave so she can go in after them. Her phone goes off and she quickly pulls herself together before answering. It's her husband asking how her speech went, and she has a conversation with him like it's any other day. She even talks to her 9-year-old about his musical rehearsal at school, and there in the backseat is Rob's dead body, just chilling. The construction workers leave and Mia lets herself in. She has a key to the job site because she designed the building. She drags Rob's body inside and finds a steaming manhole cover. Removing it, and we can hear a sizzling sound coming from inside. She pushes Rob's body into the hole, and after a short free fall, it crashes to the bottom and we hear an even more aggressively loud sizzling, like when you put a steak on a hot-ass cast iron pan. Mia returns to the hotel room and curls up in her bed, wide awake, tears in her eyes, mind racing 1,000 miles per minute. She's a wreck, a deadly combination of fear, sadness, and panic, with just a dash of willing to do whatever the fuck it takes not to get caught. The next morning, the sun's out and the ice is melting as Mia checks out of her room, but not before having to confirm her extra room service and movie charges. But in her daze, she asks what movie, not remembering watching anything, but quickly recovers by saying, "Yeah, I was in last night, yeah." She pays and walks out, but the concierge looks at her kinda strange. Who would buy a $10 adult movie and not remember it? Mia drives away and passes Shazia on the street. A cool little transition that shows how small this town is, in contrast to the isolation of all the other locations that are surrounded by nothing but snowy mountains for miles. Shazia is investigating the Fence's pizza accident from the night before, but because the security cameras are vandalized, she's got to do some more digging. She goes to the house of the man who was hit by the van and now has a cast on his right arm. He's receiving a huge insurance payout because he's a musician who is about to go on tour and now he can't play any instruments. And because it's a large payout, Shazia is here to investigate. She hooks him up to her recaller, or corroborator, and we learn more about it. Up until last year, only police were allowed to use them. But now insurance companies have access to them too, to help close cases quicker, more accurately, and prevent fraud. It accesses your memories, which she explains aren't always accurate and are often emotional. But if they get memories from enough people, they can combine them into a corroborative picture of what actually happened. And if you can't remember, like this guy, she uses your other senses to help boost your memory. For example here, when Mia said the whole street smelled like beer, turns out there's a brewery down the street. So Shazia uses the smell of beer to help bring back those faded memories by reminding you what it was like to be there. He closes his eyes and concentrates as his memory becomes more clear and appears on the screen of the recaller. He says heavy snow started when he walked outside, and he remembers hearing the song "Anyone Who Knows What Love Is" coming from a passing car. Shazia can hear the song too and says she likes it. A pretty woman with red lipstick and a yellow coat walks towards him. Her face is extremely clear, and Shazia explains emotional responses create more vivid memories. The guy then turned and walked into the street without looking. In fact, he's literally looking at the ground and then got hit by the pizza van. Now Shazia's next step is to find the woman in the yellow coat to see what she saw. Mia parks down the street from her house, trying to pull herself together and preparing to act normal after a night of murdering and body disposing, which is honestly impressive given her size. She goes inside and we learn her son's big musical for Bugsy Malone is tonight. But Mia is clearly off. She's acting weird, and her husband asks if she's okay. She says yeah and plans to meet them at the school tonight at 7:30. They leave and she goes straight to the fridge, pouring and chugging a glass of wine. Shazia runs the yellow coat woman's face through her facial recognition database and finds a match. Her name's Noni. She puts her address into the GPS, but then it takes a few times to get her car started. She should really get that looked at, because if there's ever an emergency, she can't afford to not have her car start. She arrives at Noni's work to question her and says memories are strongest when they're fresh. Shazia opens a beer for her to smell and turns on the song "Anyone Who Knows What Love Is" to help boost her memory. She closes her eyes, sniffs the beer, and the memories come flooding back to her. She remembers the guy walking towards her and the pizza van, but can't recall the speed of it when Shazia asks. She didn't see the impact, but she says she heard it, and remembers seeing a camera flash from somewhere near the dentist office. Shazia spots the flash in the reflection of a car window, and she has her next lead. Mia's at home, drinking and pacing through her house. Her guilt is eating her alive. In fact, I'm not even sure it's guilt as much as it's the fear of her being caught and losing everything she's worked for. That's really the only thing she's scared of. She's like a wounded animal backed into a corner, completely unpredictable and willing to do whatever it takes to survive. And that's when it dawns on her. She hasn't cleaned out her car. She gets her cleaning supplies and her gloves and makes sure she gets all the rob residue out of her back seat. She's really getting in there. Shazia returns to the scene of the accident, visiting the dentist office to see what he saw. But he says the memory is embarrassing and doesn't want to use the recaller. Shazia assures him she's seen it all, and his memories will be sealed in private. Unless, of course, they indicate he's harming himself or others. But hold on a second. If she's watching his memories, how are they private? It's not like her memory gets wiped every time she clocks out from work. Her seeing them is exactly what makes them not private. The dentist agrees and Shazia hooks him up. After his last patient left, he stayed to clean up and saw a naked guy in the window across the street. Being the dirty little perv he is, he tried to take a picture with his phone, but left the flash on and only got a reflection. So obviously he tried to take another, and that's when he noticed Mia in the window across the street looking at something. So he looked down to see the aftermath of the accident. He says he remembers seeing a woman in a lime coat running to check on the man, but he didn't see the actual crash. Shazia corrects him, saying the jacket was yellow, and we see his memory on screen change the coat color from lime to yellow. Memories are subjective, remember? Each person is adding more pieces to the puzzle until they get one, hopefully accurate picture. Shazia zooms in on Mia in the window, and now she has her next lead. The dentist asks if she can keep the photo thing a secret. She tells him she won't put it in the report. But that's still not private. Shazia goes across the street to the hotel, showing the concierge a picture of Mia in the window and asks him about it. But he can't say anything other than that's room 304 because she's not the police. Ever since the hotshots judge from 15 Million Merits got caught with a rent boy and the tabloids found out, they're super strict on guest information. Shazia explains the woman in this picture hasn't done anything wrong. She just thinks she may have seen an accident. But the concierge assures her he knows exactly what she was watching last night, calling her in-house movie choice very interesting.
Oh, how nice for her.
Back at home, Shazia gets a match on Mia's face through her facial recognition software. Her husband asks her how her case is going, but she says no one's seen the impact, so she can't pinpoint liability yet. But hopefully Mia saw it. Shazia says Mia lives 50 miles away, but if she can close the case in 24 hours, she'll get 2 times bonus for it.
Go.
Mia's still at home, being eaten alive from the inside out. She's sitting at her desk, staring at the newspaper clipping Rod had about the cyclist they killed. She burns it, destroying what she thinks is the last piece of evidence, but it's not. This is. She just doesn't know that yet. After hearing Anyone Who Knows What Love Is over and over and over today, it's stuck in Shazia's head, and so now she's listening to it on the way to Mia's house. Shazia knocks on the front door when she arrives, and Mia tries to blow her off until Shazia mentions the accident she's talking about is from yesterday. And this is where Mia fucks up. She should have just denied seeing anything and never opened the front door.
So you saw what happened?
Yeah, I did.
Shazia asks to come in and talk to her some more about it, and Mia tries to get out of it, but it's too late. All she had to do was say she didn't see it. Now she can't get out of it. Shazia informs Mia that ever since last year, it's a legal requirement to do this if you witness an accident. If she refuses, Shazia will be forced to call the police. Mia reluctantly allows her to come inside, and I think it's in this moment that Mia decided she's willing to kill Shazia if need be. Now Mia has no idea what a recaller is, and once she finds out, she knows there's no way out of this. She tries to tell Shazia there's no need for the recaller, she can just tell her what happened because she remembers. But that's almost an even better argument for using it. If you can already vividly remember what happens, a little sniff of beer is going to make those memories even stronger. And that's exactly what Shazia wants. Mia tries to make an excuse one last time, but Shazia lets her read the legal terms, requiring her cooperation. Thinking that Mia is just embarrassed by the movie she was watching, Shazia tries to ease her anxiety by telling her she doesn't care what happened in the hotel room. All she wants is the accident.
Private stuff is private stuff.
Mia agrees, but I think she still doesn't fully understand how the recaller works.
So it's just the accident.
I think that she thinks the machine goes through all her memories and filters out just the accident to show Shazia, rather than Shazia seeing everything and calling it private. She doesn't know Shazia is the filter. Mia tries to buy some time and offers to make Shazia some coffee, which she gladly accepts because she has a long ride home after this. In the kitchen, Mia's mind is racing. She needs a way out, and we know she's gonna look at the knives because they're framed right there. And she does. She thinks about it, but instead, she tells Shazia she needs to pee, going to the bathroom and running through her lines just like she did in the beginning with her speech. It's in the exact same mirror.
I had room service. I watched porn. I had room service. I watched porn.
Like she's trying to convince herself that the story she's practicing is the truth. And while this could possibly work on a lie detector, there's no chance it works here. It's like when you try to forget about something and then it's all you can think about. Yeah, it's gonna show up. While she's in the bathroom, Shazia is looking out the window. They're in the middle of nowhere, and almost all the snow on the ground is melted compared to the beginning of the episode. In fact, the morning after we saw Mia kill Rob, it showed ice melting, and then the snow here is completely gone. It's almost like the snow represents Mia's disguise. She was hiding who she really was and got away with it for 15 years. But then she killed Rob and it started to melt away. Now it's almost completely gone and Mia's about to get caught. There's nowhere left to hide. I actually just thought of that right now. I hope it lines up with the rest of the episode, because if it does, I might be a genius. But if not, fuck it, whatever. What do you expect from me? Shazia attaches the small recaller nub into Mia's head and cracks open a beer for her to smell.
Take a sniff?
Which fucks up her entire plan because she was drinking a beer right before she killed Rob. So that memory's definitely gonna come back now. But Mia sets the bottle down without sniffing it. However, that's when Shazia hits her with Anyone Who Knows What Love Is and asks her to close her eyes. Mia begins running the lines she was practicing in the bathroom, but Shazia tells her
all I need is the accident.
which throws her off a little bit more. Mia shows Shazia the accident, and it's everything she needed. She's done. But before Shazia can disconnect the recaller, Mia's mind begins to wander, and Shazia watches Rob die on the screen. She sees the sleeping bag body being thrown off the cliff, them hitting the biker in the car, the biker's body on the ground. It's all splicing together and it becomes too much for her to handle. She shuts it off. She packs her things up and tries to keep her cool, knowing this woman is dangerous. Mia opens her eyes up and Shazia tells her she got everything she needed, and Mia thinks it worked, at least for a second, because then she notices Shazia seems to be trying to rush out of her house. So just in case she did see anything, Mia tries to get in front of it by saying sometimes she just thinks crazy stuff, but it doesn't mean anything. Shazia makes it outside, and when she realizes Mia followed her out wearing nothing but socks, she knows she's in danger. She speeds up, gets in her car, and closes the door. But of course her car won't start. Damn it, Shazia, I told you not to put that off. Mia walks over and grabs a big rock off the ground. Shazia's car still won't start, and Mia appears at her driver's side window. She has that same ice-cold look of fear, sadness, and self-preservation on her face as she smashes the rock onto the window, and Shazia screams in terror. The window breaks on her third hit, and Mia drags her out of the car. Shazia wakes up, gagged and bound in a small abandoned building. Mia apologizes.
I'm sorry. I fucked up and I panicked. Does your head hurt?
She's so torn. I feel like she genuinely feels bad she has to do this, but also in the back of her head, she knows that she has to do this. Shazia cries as Mia weighs her options. She can't let her go because even if she says she won't say anything, her memories are recorded. But that's when Shazia stops her. She can delete them. It'll be like it never happened. But Mia says she already tried to delete them. She was messing with the recaller while Shazia was unconscious and she couldn't figure it out, so she doesn't believe her. Shazia continues to plead, saying the law doesn't allow her to tell anybody what she sees, like a Catholic priest or a therapist. But Mia doesn't believe her and asks her who knows that she came out here. Shazia says no one, and again, Mia doesn't believe her. When she begins to set up the recaller, as Shazia screams. She knows Mia's gonna see her husband and track him down the same way she found Mia and tracked her down. She continues crying as Mia hooks her up, puts in her earpiece, and begins to question her. The first thing that pops up is her car ride over when she was singing Anyone Who Knows What Love Is, and Mia comments she likes that song too, just like Shazia did.
Who did you speak to?
And it flashes back to her telling Anon she's going to question Mia Nolan.
Is that your husband?
And that's when Mia knows she's gonna have to do some more killing if she wants to keep her life. They're both crying. They both know what's coming, and neither one of them wants it to happen. But in Mia's deranged mind, it's the only option. Like I said earlier, she's a wounded animal backed into a corner. Mia picks up a club-sized chunk of concrete off the ground.
I'm really sorry.
Mia places a hand on Shazia's head and asks her to close her eyes to make it easier for her, just like she closed Rob's eyes. She can't stand looking at her victims. That's when Shazia begins to pray, and Mia beats her to death with that piece of concrete before walking outside and retching, physically sick by what she just did. But now, there's also snow back on the mountains, so her secret's still safe. Mia leaves Shazia's body behind inside this abandoned shed building place and gets her address from her GPS. On the way, she talks to her husband on the phone, and he reminds her the musical starts at 7:30, and she says she'll be there. What she doesn't tell him is she's got one more stop to make before she can come watch her son sing. She arrives at Shazia's house, hammer in hand, and sneaks in, having a key to the house. She finds Anon on the couch, watching TV, but he turns it off and leaves the room before she can do anything. She follows him upstairs, careful not to make any noise as Anon starts a bath. Once he's settled, Mia sneaks in, and before she can hit him, her phone starts to ring. Anon looks up, seeing her, and Mia panics, smashing the hammer down on his head. Not once, but twice, and Anon's body sinks lifelessly into the water. She wanted to blindside him so she didn't have to look him in the eyes, though him looking at her really messed her up. She drops the hammer and begins to cry as the bathtub turns completely red. It's a bloodbath. Unable to look at what she just did, she throws a towel over the tub and sits down, removing her mask so she can breathe easier and try to calm down. Never take your mask off. I'm not trying to tell people how to commit crime, but you gotta be smarter than that. I'm not taking that mask off till I'm at home in the shower. And this is when reality comes crashing down on Mia. She was already being eaten alive after killing Rob. Now she's murdered 2 more innocent people and wiped an entire family off the face of the earth. Mia leaves the bathroom, closes the door, and you can see it in her face. She knows exactly what she has to do. She knows how the recaller works, and even a baby can rat her out if they hook him up to that machine. Everything she's done so far is for nothing if she doesn't tie up this one last loose end. It just so happens this loose end is an infant standing in their crib, wondering where their parents are. Mia walks into the bedroom, mask still down, completely exposed. She's already been seen. What's it matter now? And that should tell you everything you need to know about what happens next. It doesn't matter what the kid sees, because his memories won't be available when she's finished. She arrives at her son's school with just enough time to go in and sit down before the show starts. But before they go in, her husband calls her out for having a mean case of purple mouth, and she says she just had one glass of wine. Now, we saw how she was drinking after one murder. I can only imagine what she had to do after killing an entire family. The Bugsy Malone musical starts, and the song lyrics scream irony in a way only Black Mirror uses music. The words saying, "We could have been anything that we wanted to be, and it's not too late to change." Well, for our dear friend Mia here, who's crying as she watches her son sing on stage, I think it might be too late for her. But it is true, she could have been anything. She just happened to pick cold-blooded murderer, and just like everywhere else she's been, Mia can't sit still. She's constantly squirming and shifting in her seat as she cries. Meanwhile, the police arrive at Shazia's house, announcing it's a double homicide. Both males, one adult and one infant.
Who kills a baby?
I don't know.
It's gotta be someone worried about leaving a witness. And that's when Black Mirror drops possibly the darkest joke of the series and one of the bleakest endings of any episode.
Poor fucker was born blind, apparently.
Fucking hell. She killed him for no reason. He couldn't see anything anyways. It's so fucked, but also darkly funny at the same time. Who's even heard of a blind baby? The detective says she has no idea what she's looking for. There's no evidence, no clues, and no leads. Mia completely covered her tracks, but that's when the recall team comes in as the cops clear out.
Let the recall team do their job.
Because guess what? There's one fluffy guy over there in that corner that saw everything. Codger the Lodger. Now knowing exactly who they're looking for, the police track Mia to her son's school. She's totally out of it, in her own world full of guilt and self-pity, like she's not the one who made the choices to kill all these people. The crowd gives the kids a standing ovation, and Mia stays seated, crying until her husband nudges her to get up. But in the back of the gym, we see the police ask a lady if she knows where Mia is, and she points her out in the crowd. Mia continues clapping with the rest of the parents as her world slowly closes in around her. She can't run, she can't hide, and she can't kill her way out of this one. It's finally over. She killed an entire family trying to protect her own, only to end up destroying them both. Oh, that's a dark one. That is a dark one. Whew, deep breath. Well, let's start at the end. That Bugsy Malone song was perfect. The song is called Give You a Little Love, and it's the last song on the musical, ironically, played right after a massacre. And the last line we hear is, "You know you're gonna be remembered for the things you say and do," almost rubbing it in her face that the one thing she was trying to keep secret is gonna be the defining trait that people remember her by: murderer. Now, what really stands out to me in this episode, among other things, is how scary it is to think that Mia had this inside of her the entire time. And had she never been put in this situation, that side of her probably never would have been revealed. And that darkness could be inside anybody. We just don't know it until we're put in that position. That being said, don't kill people and you won't find yourself in that position. But I digress. She's a seemingly normal woman, married, with a kid and a successful career. You don't see her and think, serial killing baby murderer. But she got backed into a corner, and in her head, that was the only way out. Her reptile brain took over and made the choices for her. But in her defense, it already worked once, so why wouldn't it work again and again and again? But what's terrifying is, it did work. She would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for that pesky guinea pig. But even then, she never would have survived to live a normal life again. You saw how bad it ate at her. She would have ended up detached and emotionally alone, crumbling into madness. Now, the idea from this story stemmed from an experience Charlie Brooker had back in like 2005. He was on his bike and saw a pedestrian get hit by a car. He called the police, and when they showed up, they started asking him questions, and he couldn't remember how fast the car was going or even the color of it, even though he watched it happen. That's where the idea from the recaller came from. It would crowdsource and combine people's memories into one, mostly accurate portrayal of an event, kind of like Wikipedia. Now, the name Crocodile has absolutely nothing to do with this episode. Technically, it was originally very different. Charlie Brooker explains Crocodile is an analogy for somebody who is traumatized at a really young age, and thus might be troubled by life and never able to relax. The analogy he used was, imagine you're in a VR video game on a boat ride, and 5 minutes in, you get attacked by a crocodile. Anytime you play after that, you're going to be on the lookout for crocodiles because you think that's what always happens. Compared to if it happened after hours of playing, you wouldn't dwell on it as much and probably just chalk it up to bad luck. The title stuck even though the story completely changed. It was originally going to be about somebody witnessing an accident and then discover they unknowingly witnessed their mother's murder when they were a child. Then they become obsessed trying to figure out the face of the killer. The tone was originally going to be completely different too. It was going to be a dark comedy similar to the movie Fargo, which would explain the dark yet still kind of hilarious ending with the guinea pig. They kept that part. But when director John Hillcoat came on board, he wanted to make it much more dark and character driven. They scrapped the original story, but kept the title. And then during production, I think they went out of their way to make little nods to make the title fit better. So, that being said, how is Mia Crocodile like? Let's start with crocodile tears. Crocodile tears refers to a false, insincere display of emotion or fake sadness, rooted in an ancient belief that crocodiles cry while eating their prey, although they actually just produce tears to lubricate their eyes. But myths are always more fun. In modern usage, the term describes hypocritical remorse. Every time Mia killed, she cried afterwards like she wasn't the one who made the choice to kill in the first place. There's nothing remorseful about it. And then when she's in her hotel room, her name is on the TV and the background is water droplets, which could represent crocodile tears as well. But I think the coolest nod to Mia being crocodile-like was done with her wardrobe. Her clothing blends into the background of almost every scene she's in, like she's unintentionally camouflaging herself. If it happened once or twice, you could probably chalk it up to coincidence, but I've watched enough Black Mirror to know that nothing is on accident. Also, the setting in Iceland is perfect. It's so cold and barren, it perfectly encapsulates Mia as the cold-blooded killer she is. Now in the very beginning I mentioned Kenny, because his story is very similar to Mia's, and not just because they both involve children.
Mother of God.
They're both perfect examples of how secrecy can turn ordinary problem solving into crime escalation. In both stories, the characters reach a point where protecting their secret becomes more important than any moral boundary they may have had. They both begin as people trying to hide their darkest secret, but then their paths slightly diverge. Kenny is pushed, step by step, into worse actions, because each demanded act feels like the last price he has to pay to keep his secret hidden. Mia follows a parallel arc, but with one crucial difference. She's not being told what to do by anybody. It's her own reptile brain saying one more murder is all it takes, and then it's over. In both cases, the escalation is fueled by thinking they have no other choice. If they confess, their life's over, so they're more willing to take extreme measures. Both episodes end with them getting caught by the police, the main difference being, Mia got snitched on by a guinea pig. And there you have it. Thank you for joining me on this Black Mirror breakdown. I got plenty more episodes coming up. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one. Is Mia a terrible person? Or just someone who made a lot of split-second decisions and somehow chose the worst one every single time? If you made it this far, please like the video, subscribe if you want more content like this. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Thanks for watching.